For this under $100 setup right here, there's 3 things that you're going to need. The first one, well actually let me have Nikita explain it because he knows a lot more about this than I do.
So the first thing you're going to need is a consult connector. So some cars come with these in some of your 240s. If you have a Chuki S13, you will have one of these. But if you don't, you can just go to a junkyard and you can cut one of these out from any Nissan made from like 1991 to around 95.
Such as a Maxima?
Yeah. Or a Century, guaranteed to find one of these. It's usually on the left side, like under the wheel. You can just chop it off, and then we can splice it in. And then we're going to need a Nissan consult adapter, which essentially plugs into this, and then you can get a USB cord and plug this into your laptop. This is actually a consult to serial adapter, so I have to use a serial to USB adapter, but you can buy one so that you can just plug a USB cord straight into it.
The third item is going to be the actual program itself. So what you're going to be running is Nissan Data Scan, and you can buy this online, and they have a few different versions of it.
They have one which is just for general data acquisition, and it's just called Nissan Consult, and I think that's like 40 bucks. You can also buy one which is designed to be used as a dash on a computer. And you can also buy one for Android for really cheap too.
Exactly.
If you get like a Bluetooth adapter.
So you can use that with your tablet or also your phone.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so for the total price, so a connector like this, if you find it at a junkyard, it's going to be under $5. How much
like
is
$1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or they might not even charge you if they like you. Okay, and then how much is this setup going to cost right here as far as these cables?
So this cable actually bought a while ago for $15, but I was checking it recently, and usually to get like a console to USB one, it'll probably be around $20 to $30. You can buy one on eBay for. So it's pretty easy.
The program itself on the laptop is going to run anywhere from what? The highest is going to be around like $40.
Yeah, $40 is the full one.
The most highest, and then lower than that, I think we saw them as low as what, like $7 or something like that for the app.
Yeah, it's like for the app, it's like $7 if you want.
So you can actually get it for really cheap. So in total,
yeah,
you're going to be spending.
But the thing is, it can only be done on PC. So if you have a Mac, just no.
Exactly. So in total, you're going to be spending like basically under $100 for this entire setup right here. The only thing that's not going to be included in that price, of course, is going to be your tablet or whatever you're using, because that's going to vary like greatly on what you use. If you're using your own phone, you can just use that. That's going to be free. If you're going to buy a whole new laptop for that, that's a whole other price. If you're just buying a small tablet for that, whole different price. So that's all depends on your setup specifically. So now we'll go and have to set this up in your car and hooking up the actual console port and wiring that in, because that's basically the hardest part of this entire setup.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, right now we're going to cover how to wire in this console port into your harness right here.
So chances are, if you cut one of these connectors off from your junkyard, the wire colors aren't going to be matching because they'll be from a different car. So PLMS Developments is actually, they have a very handy guide on how to wire this in. So here, Adele will link this picture in the description, but pretty much it gives you a reference of which pin you need to splice into where right here. So you can just hold it up like this and match up all the wires. So it's like receive when this is transmit and stuff like that. On the website, they also have a very handy pinout diagram for SR ECU, so you can splice this in pretty easily. If you don't have an SR, then you're gonna have to look up the wiring diagram and figure out how to do it by yourself, just pretty much matching colors. But this is pretty easy. So we're gonna be splicing to an S13 blacktop harness, so we can just use this guide and find the right wire colors and splice it in. It's pretty self-explanatory. So first, you cut the wire, then you strip it. And then take your connector, this is a transmit wire, and then you just, you do this, and you do this, and you wrap it with electrical tape, and you're done. No, I'm kidding though. You guys can use one of these really dope splices you can get. They're covered with heat shrink, and it's stepped, so the side is bigger, so you can fit 2 wires in here. And these are really dope, but it's kind of expensive. It's like 75 cents each. If you do like a full harness, it gets pretty expensive. So I'm just gonna solder this in. All right, first, dab of flux for the solder. We're soldering at 700 degrees Fahrenheit. And just take a bit of isopropyl alcohol to get all the flux off, all the flux residue. Takes it right off. There you go.
So that is one wire spliced in and done for this connector. So you just repeat that process for all of them, and then you'll finally have your console port spliced in. Okay, so now looking at the car, we're gonna go underneath where the harness is at.
We just happened to splice ours in there because of his harness. The way we did it. Just plug that in. We got the cable.
So that's hooked up to the console port right now. The serial adapter, serial to USB, USB into the laptop.
Okay, now we open up data scan.
There's the data scan.
So you're not going to be able to connect it right now until you turn the ignition on, because that's when the ECU actually gets power. So we turn the ignition on, and then we can connect. There we go, it's connected. And now if you start the car, now that we fired up the car, we can do data display. And we can monitor everything. The cool thing about this, you can also do a lot of ECU diagnosis. So if you have any engine troubles, you have this tool which allows you to adjust a lot of stuff. For example, we can turn off Adele's number 2 cylinder right now. You hear that? That's not good. Yeah, or we can kill the fuel pump to kill the car. Stuff like that. So it makes it pretty easy to diagnose, and you can also monitor all of the engine parameters. You can also do data logging too. And then you can also do whatever the other features are important.
Yeah. So the way we have this laptop set up is we usually spin it around. Towel. And there you have your digital display for super cheap, not too much work at all. That covers installing the digital display in your car, and for all that, the entire setup is basically under $100. Of course, not including a laptop or whatever you're running. We actually, it's fairly simple to wire in overall. We actually ended up wiring it in instead of my stock cluster just because it took less time this way, and we get to monitor more things. Me personally, I'm still going to wire my stock cluster in, and I'm actually going to end up ditching this setup. The main reason for that is it's just a little bit too cumbersome right now, because you have to have a laptop in there, then you have to wait for the laptop boot time, and then of course starting the program and running it, whereas your standard gauges, you can have it on the second you turn on the ignition. The battery dies on the laptop, but of course it's not going to die when you have a normal cluster in there. Having said that, we don't have really any experience as far as installing the tablets in there. I know a lot of guys install tablets as far as their gauge clusters go. So if you did manage to put a cluster in there and you don't work it around, you could probably end up getting a solid setup out of this, but that's not the route that I want to go for the car. So if you like this video, please give it a like, and of course if you want to stay tuned for more stuff, you can go ahead and subscribe. Hopefully that helped some of you guys out, because I know a lot of guys were asking about this setup and were really curious about how we did it, and so that's basically how we did it. Super simple. And there you have your digital display for super cheap, not too much work at all.
it's fine if it wasn't here, but when you're in the car, like, oh, I'm next to you? Okay.
You know, like all of this, I'm just gonna be like, what is this cable called in here?
Crap, okay, so I have to talk actually?
No, only if you're spoken to, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Slavery.
Alright.
That's what's up. Okay, are both of us in the picture?
Hold on. How's my look?
Can you see this? If we
How's
do
my
this,
look?
can you see this?
Yep, you can see everything.
Okay.
Crap, I have a massive pimple.
No, you don't. I can't even see. Oh, you have a massive pimple next to me, fam. Thank you, bro.
Shit,
make me feel good
I'm sorry.
about myself.
I'm sorry, buddy.